Okay. So along those lines, so we've got but he's got a completely new NFT project. It is a club. It's called the Flyfish Club. It's got
Hmm.
two different types of tokens. It was a very narrow release, both basically to insiders, Gary insiders. Uh, Initially, you can buy it in OpenSea in the secondary market. But what it does, it's basically it's a restaurant in New York City.
Hmm.
You can only get access to it if you hold one of the NFTs. There's a secondary. There's one that's more expensive, the Amakashi version, and then you can actually have this. You have access to this sushi bar, which is very exclusive.
Yep.
I think that was I think that was like 4 times more expensive or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the Flyfish Club. So he's got this. He basically created a real world club in New York City. I think it's going to be a winner.
Yeah, it's again, this is like the outside the box utility stuff is so cool. And I think it's going to be good because if he can do this and show that it works, like a lot of people are going to, this is what we need right now. No one really knows what NFTs are or what they can do. So seeing some interesting use cases, I think is going to trigger people's imagination. Like it's, yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it was really smart, really cool. Um,
Okay, so now this seems like the most obvious thing to me. Like, so we have
mhm.
V Friends, which is like being in a club. It's a club that only shows up once a year for VCon.
Yep.
But now
Yep.
we have this idea of a permanence of a club, and it's only semi-permanent because I think these are 3-year tokens.
Mhm.
I think we're starting to see that a lot more where people are putting end dates on them, which
Yep.
I think is pretty savvy. The thing that's different here, this is not the first club in NFT land. I mean, so very famously, Bored Ape Yacht Club has some real estate now in a couple cities that you can go to. This is the first one that I am aware of that is really integrated into the hospitality industry, has a core utilitarian function of it's a restaurant, it's a club that people can go to. This is part of an announcement he made many months ago. The VCR Group, I think, is the name of it, where he got together with some former restaurateurs and chefs to create this. And this is, I think, their first project that they're rolling out. And I'm guessing it's going to be the first of many. My guess is Flyfish Club starts in New York and is going to expand to LA, probably somewhere in Europe, certainly Miami.
Yep.
And then after that, I'm not really sure, but I could see those 3 U.S. cities and maybe London or Paris
Yep.
added to it. And it's going to be an international network of clubs called the Flyfish Club and NFT access. Really interesting. Plus, that gives them an excuse every time they do a new club to put out more tokens.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's super smart. And I think this, like, I was talking, I don't think I mentioned it here, but I was talking to somewhere else. Like, imagine an airline doing this where you could buy an NFT for a seat on the plane and you own that seat and you could always fly on that plane if you held that, like, or you could
Never
lease
gonna
out your
happen.
NFT. Never would happen. But the fact that that's possible for a startup to do that. So I don't think there's any airlines going to start up. But if you had you could start to see how someone could build a business around selling tokens ahead of time to
The
fund
next,
something like that.
that's brilliant. The next NetJets should be
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And you
maybe
could
an
do it with
annual fee as
ski
well.
resorts. Like, I want to open a ski resort. I'll sell NFTs that could be season passes for 5 years, or like a huge one that's a lifetime seasons pass if you invest in this NFT. There's so many of these things that I think are going to be, yeah, it starts to show you how get your imagination going about all the ways you could use NFTs for this kind of thing.